and I applaud all your effort to bring forth our proposals to the American public, the proposals that make sense economically. And I thank you, Mr. Bishop. You're doing a great job, and I applaud that.
Well, I appreciate the gentleman from Georgia being able to join us in the middle of his committee markup, and I appreciate him being here and talking about simply some of the major problems that would take place with this overall system that may be here. It's one of the reality checks that we have to deal with is why indeed are we going to do this kind of an approach. I happen to think that one of the reasons why we're marching down this path right now, so rapidly marching down this path, is simply because the government promised to do something. And the something that they decided to do is a cap and trade or cap and tax policy, which simply means to put government pressure on the business community to try and lower their amount of CO2 emissions by insisting they put economic pressure on them, so that right now to try and get those caps exceeded, they have to buy some kind of credit and then put the economic pressure on them to change over to a new way of doing business. Both of those costs, both the cost of buying the cap and trade process right now, as well as the change, will be passed on to the consumer. So the consumer basically gets hit both ways, 2 times, once going and once coming in this process. At the same time, because the consumer basically has all of our life is surrounded in some way by fossil fuel economy. And the consumer, therefore, has to have a life change at the same time the business is having a life change. Now, I don't care how you want to try and spin this as a new way of living or whatever it is. This is going to be the opportunity to change lifestyles based on bureaucratic decisions. And it will be, as the gentleman from Georgia just said, a concept of a tax on people. For the rich amongst us, this new tax is going to be an annoyance. For poor people, where 50% of their income has to go to energy choices, this tax is going to be the difference between being able to have a luxury like hamburger helper that night. This is not going to be fairly distributed throughout society. In fact, we'll notice, I think the gentleman from Ohio is here to talk to us in just a moment, and his area is going to be even more severely hit than some of the other parts of this country. And what it will be, though, is a windfall profit tax for the government. As the gentleman from Georgia said, this $400+ billion we're talking about does not go into improving our lifestyle or does not go into coming up with alternative energy sources. It goes to the government, pure and simple. I will yield. Sure, be happy to.
I want to bring out a point, and that you were talking about what it's going to do. Let me tell you